So we've all received those mailers from car dealerships, and it's very clearly an attempt to just get us in the door. And most of the time we just throw them out because we have no interest in going through their door to see the slimy salesman. So we got one of these mailers last week, and I was gonna throw it out, but you know what? I like scratching off the scratch off things. You know, we're not really lottery players, so I don't get to scratch off many things like that. So I went ahead and started scratching, and I was like, wait a second, did we win? I don't physically have it here with me because they kept it when we went, but I'm looking off of this, and I'll put the picture up to show you. So you scratch off, and it says how to win. Scratch off the poker chips above and match the confirmation code. If any of your scratch offs reveal 3 matching symbols, you are a winner of one of these prizes. Call the event hotline immediately and then proceed to the dealership to claim your prize. So I scratched them off, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like the 3 7s matched. We won $6,500 or a Polaris Sportsman ATV. I immediately started reading all the fine print to look for the catch. I think the mailer that I'm most familiar with, I think usually like a dealership, I've seen these before where like they'll send a key, and it states very clearly like you have to go to the dealership to see if that key is a winner. And most of the time you're like, no, not worth it. But this one, I'm like, I think we won. And I called my husband, and I was like, don't get too excited because I'm still trying to figure this out, but I'm like, I really think we won. And he came home and was looking it over, and he's like, yeah, we got really excited. So it was over the weekend, so we waited till Monday morning, and he called that event hotline, and he's like, they didn't even say hello, they just answered, and they're like, confirmation code. So they asked for the confirmation code, and my husband gave them the code that we had on our mailer, and they're like, yes, you are a confirmed winner. And they're like, do you want to come to the dealership, you know, tomorrow or Wednesday? And you know, we told them when we would come. He even asked them on the event hotline, he started asking a couple questions about the $6,500 because we were already making plans. And we know how it works when you win prize money, you know, you got to pay taxes on it. So he asked them, he's like, if we put the $6,500 like towards, you know, like a down payment towards a vehicle, would we still have to pay the taxes on it, or would we get to, you know, keep the whole $6,500 instead of paying the taxes on it? You know, valid question. And they're just like, oh, they'll be able to answer that for you at the dealership. We're like, okay. So that was kind of in our mind, and that was our plan. We were like, okay, let's, we have a Jeep, and, you know, it's got some mileage on it, and it's a little bit older, and we're like, yeah, let's upgrade a little bit. So our intention was, like, we'll sell them our Jeep, you know, trade it in as well. We, you know, the day before we took it, got it all vacuumed out and all cleaned up and spiffed up because we knew they would, you know, appraise it for, you know, trade-in value or to sell it. We weren't even skeptical at this point. We're like, we won. So my husband took off work a little early the next day, and we drove up. Now, mind you, this dealership is well over an hour away from where we live. It is an area though that we were both familiar with. We both went to college in that town, so that was kind of nice. So we drove up there. We get there, still thinking, I'm like, we won. And I noticed right away, like there's salesmen like standing right out front. Like you can't avoid them. They're just like waiting for people to get out of their car. But as they're sitting in the car, I'm looking, and they have all these like flyers, these mailers, like posted all over the glass in the front, like kind of like the, you know, promotional whatever. And I'm looking at all of them because all of them have everything scratched off on them, and they all look the same. Like it all has that $6,500 spot marked as a winner. I was like, that's weird. And that's when things started. I'm like, something's up. So we get out, and of course, you know, the salesman attacks us right at the door, like, hey, how you doing? You know, we get in the door, and there's tables like all throughout the showroom. I would say at least 15 different like spots for salespeople to sit down and, you know, meet with people. And immediately, you know, before we even get to the table, he's like, "That's a really nice Jeep. What year is it? How many miles are on it?" You know, and he sits us down and right into there's a form with the paperwork, you know, what's your name, address, starting to get our information. You know, what kind of car are you looking to get? And at that point he asked for my license, and I'd left it out in the glove box, so my husband went out to get it. While my husband was out there, I was like, I straight up said to him, I was like, "All the mailers on the windows," I'm like, "they all look the same." He's like, "Yep, you got it." So anyway, at that time, like, hopes were kind of gone. But I mean, we were in the market for another vehicle, but at this point, not sure that that was going to happen, because in our mind, you know, that $6,500 would have made a lovely down payment, you know, and without it, I don't know that we were in as great of a position to go ahead and upgrade our vehicle. So we're just like, ugh. And at that point, I'm just still like, we should have just like walked away at that point, because, you know, he finished taking my information back, ran a credit check, and they wanted my husband to co-sign on it. Normally would have been fine, you know, married couple signing on a loan together for a vehicle, but he's a business owner, and as they are expanding, he is looking at getting another vehicle very soon for his business. So he didn't want his credit involved with that too soon while he's getting ready to do that. And it was at that point, he's like, "Well, let's go over and see if you're a winner." So after the credit check was done, then he's like, "Well, let's go see if you're a winner." And we take the mailer over to the back wall, and there's this little spot that has the winning numbers. So if your confirmation code matches any of those, then you win. He's like, "Oh, no." So then he gives us our $5 because if you look at the prize, you could win $1,000, the $6,500, or the Polaris Sportsman, a 2023 Jeep Renegade, or $25,000, $2,000, and the odds of winning any one of those was 1 in 60,000. And when I scratched off the mailer, I thought that we were the 1 in 60,000. I feel so stupid now. The odds of winning $5 cash is 59,996 out of 60,000. So he gave us our $5. I saw him take our mailer and like put it in a box, and I'm just like, I don't want our name included in the box of people that were duped. Like, so we left, and it just had this feeling of like, and sliminess. You know, you feel like when you've been taken advantage of. I'm just like, oh, I felt so dumb. Again, we did go to college in that town, so there was a favorite like pizza joint we went to. It's a small place. Typically they have a couple tables inside, but none of the tables were inside. They're actually all like outside, like up against the building, and only one of the tables was like underneath this little roof thing. And it said their restrooms were closed, so I'm thinking like when you have an eat-in place, like you have to have an available restroom. So maybe if the restroom was down, people aren't allowed to eat inside. So we took the one table that was under this little roof thing, and it started to pour, and the wind, there's like the rain's coming in, and we're sitting there huddled up as close to the building as we can, eating our pizza, and I'm like, it seems pretty perfect. But I mean, we tried to still make a nice night out of it, spending time together, but just so then I come home and, you know, Googled the dealership reviews, and if you use the keyword prizes, I'm like, oh my gosh, they've been doing this for years. And all of the complaints, when the dealership would reply, it was so condescending. Like, they wouldn't come right out and say like, well, you're an idiot for believing this, but really that's like the type of wording they were saying, because they're like, it's not even in fine print, it's here in like big words right there. If any of your scratch-offs reveal 3 matching symbols, you are a winner of one of these prizes. But it's so deceptive the way they've done it. Oh my goodness. So then I started looking up YouTube videos, and I was just like, oh, now I feel really dumb because of like all the videos that were out there. But some of them were like legit news reports and news stories picking up on it, as they should. And one of them even talked about, it was in a different state, but the Attorney General's office saying, like, no, we do not endorse this. Like, that's deceptive fraud, like deceptive practices. I was like, oh, well, that's good to know. So I went ahead and filled out an Attorney General's form for our state, sent them pictures of the mailer, and I'm like, here you go. Yeah, so if you receive one of them, if you go to the dealership, just walk in and say, I'm here to check the numbers and get my $5. Thank you. Like, don't even sit down at the table. I mean, if you're not interested in getting a car, well, first of all, even if we had every intention of getting a car, I would not want to purchase one from a place like this. Like, you're deceptive in just getting me in the door. I understand the ones that go out where you know for a fact that you might be a winner and you have to walk in the door to check if you are. But to have people believe that they have won, you have them call a phone number to confirm that they have won. Not liking that. Oh, work the wise, that's how those work. Hopefully the Attorney General will hold them accountable. And maybe next time I'll walk in the first day, like take a picture of the winning numbers and like rent a billboard across the street and be like, don't walk in the door, here's the numbers, check it, keep driving past. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully my disappointment will save you from yours. I'll see you next time. Bye.